Her voice was a husky alto with a hint of broad West Country accent. It reverberated through him, just like her eyes. He fell into the promise of the sweet, warm weight of the curves nestled against his chest. She was all lush bounty in the cradle of his arms, and it was only too easy to imagine the satin of her skin behind the cage of her corset and crinoline. Her gaze was focused on him like the lure of the moonclad night in the Byron poem Hotchkiss had referred to, a stupidly romantic poem Mac had often scoffed at. He had been as certain of Hotchkiss's hyperbole as he was of the man's intolerance of more than 2 fingers of Irish whiskey in a sitting. For once, Hotchkiss hadn't been exaggerating. That lack of exaggeration made Mac irrationally angry. He didn't want to notice her eyes. He didn't want to relish the curve of her body in his arms. He didn't want to acknowledge the helpless way his gaze dropped from her spangled midnight eyes to the pale pink bow of her lips. Sheer temptation disguised in gray wool. Sheer temptation he wanted to taste. He wasn't a poet, and he never claimed to be one. The only verse he'd ever memorized was bawdy limericks, but he was now convinced her eyes would inspire any man to compose a sonnet, even one who'd only memorized naughty limericks.